Yeah, it's in sport now. Second gear. What's up YouTube? Welcome to the review of the Ducati Monster 821. Riding a Ducati is always an upside down between love and hate for the bike, because I'm coming from a background of inline 4 600cc and getting onto an L twin like this, and riding it is like, sometimes I fall in love with this motorcycle, sometimes I just hate it. So let's get into each and everything in detail, because I've been riding this motorcycle for a few days, not that much. I have to say that I tried riding it a couple of days inside city, and today I got a chance to take it on the highway, and what a machine, man. This is the first time I'm getting a hands-on experience on this Ducati Monster, and I have to say it's fabulous. It's a fabulous motorcycle, no nonsense motorcycle. You have entire power, everything on your fingertips. An absolute monster, I have to say that, because from the Ducati lineup everything is monstrous. Starting from the Scrambler, everything is monster. And last week I was riding the Hyperstrada, most probably you would have seen that review. So after that, coming on to the Monster, I feel so much relaxed. So people were asking me whether I feel so much stressed out after riding an inline 4 and coming on to an L twin. I have to say that I feel much relaxed and I feel much comfortable riding a Monster coming from a Hyperstrada, because Hyperstrada is a very hyperactive kit and the Monster is a monstrous kit, but when you want it, that's all, because it comes with 3 riding modes and it's kind of a tame monster, that's what I'll say. So yeah, looking around the bike, very minimalistic bike. In a parking lot, I don't say that you won't recognize this bike that easy when it is lined up with all other bikes, but when you turn on the exhaust, people will look onto it and surely they will recognize the muscular tang and that muscular shape for the Monster. So yes, look wise, I'll say it's a very sexy motorcycle. And what you see over here is the L twin. Let's come back to that when I ride the motorcycle. Walking around, we can see the exhaust pipe. It's very sweet. I have to say that one of the best sounding motorcycle from the Ducati lineup in stock setting. I really don't feel that you should upgrade to an aftermarket exhaust on this, because it's fairly loud and when you are on the highway it sounds beautiful. So when you get on the motorcycle, you see that it's a very minimalistic motorcycle from this side. What you see is a very huge and muscular tank from this angle. So for my height, I'll say that it's not a tall motorcycle, but the thing is, like, you have to sit a little backwards, a bit of a distance over here, because otherwise you might tend to put your knee over this portion. This is a pipe which is going on, and yes, you have a heat shield over there, but still, yeah, it gets really hot. And so walking through the switches on the handlebar, this is the typical Ducati engine kill switch. This is the hazard lamp switch, and what you see over here, this is high beam and low beam, and you have the pass switch over here, and this one is basically toggle through all the switches over here, and this is indicator switch with an enter key over it. I'll explain why it is, and a horn. So looking on to the dial, that's a beautiful looking dash. There are a lot of information on this. So basically there are 3 riding modes. So when you press this enter button, you will see 3 riding modes: the urban, touring and sport. So let's start with the urban. So urban has the most ABS settings and the traction control settings, and the engine braking is low. And coming on to the touring, ABS is a bit less, traction control is medium, and the engine braking is also medium. And in the sport mode, you have the most engine braking, traction control and ABS onto a medium setting. So basically there is a huge lot of difference while you're riding in the urban, touring and the sport mode. In the urban mode, the throttle is not that sharp. Touring is nice. When you are out on the highway, you can use it, but if you are inside city and putting onto the touring mode, I'm not finding that comfortable to ride the motorcycle. But if you are putting onto the sport, this motorcycle is like next level. You can ride it inside city like a maniac, and even on the highways it's beautiful to ride. So what you see over here is the tachometer, and this is the speedometer, the gear position indicator, the heat level sensor, the fuel level indicator, which I always like, because most of the Ducatis I've seen is like they have a low fuel indicator which is like really bad. You don't know when that comes up and you're truly I don't know, if you're in the middle of the desert, you're truly yeah, the ambient temperature, and there are 2 trip meters and the ABS and the traction control levels, and also you have every other things, and it's a beautiful dash to see as well. So compared to the previous version, this dash has everything that you can ask for, that's what I feel. So let's hear this Monster. That's a lot of grunt coming out of that exhaust. Seriously, it is powerful, and the exhaust also make it feel powerful. That's why when you turn on the exhaust, people will start looking onto the bike. Until then, it almost hides in the crowd. That's what I'll say. Once you turn on, it stands out. So let's go for a ride. Basically, this is a street motorcycle. a naked motorcycle which can be used for street use as well as intermediate tours. The thing is, like, when you think about a naked street motorcycle, you might be thinking that it's a properly upright riding posture motorcycle, but this one is not like that, because you have to keep some distance from the tank, otherwise you might be hitting the pipe with your knee. So the basic idea is you have to push a little back and sit on the motorcycle. That makes this motorcycle to be a bit sporty, and you have a really wide handlebar for a lot of control. These Ducatis are like really fast. I haven't heard any Ducati which is slow. I mean, probably you can ride it slow, that's all, but they are inherently fast. Stock exhaust. Crazy, right? So this is in touring mode. So let's put on to the sport mode for now. I'm directly jumping onto the sport mode. I'll explain you what all differences are there. Yeah, it's in sport now. Second gear. Holy moly, you have a lot of torque. I don't say that it has a lot of power, I'll say that it has a lot of torque. Lot of torque means I feel like it can even do a power wheelie. So yes, this comes with 3 riding modes: the sport, the touring and the urban mode. So I tried riding the motorcycle in the urban mode. So the urban mode is like really softer for a Ducati. I really didn't like riding in that mode for any Ducati as such, okay. Probably I would have ran the V4 with that setting, but not this one or the Hyperstrada, because I feel like if you're riding a Ducati, you should ride with some power, not like a sedated Ducati, okay. So the urban mode is a bit of a sedated version, like it feels less powerful when compared to the actual power this has, and the throttle response is also a bit less. The touring mode is set onto a different mode, okay. So in the touring mode and in the 6th gear, the comfortable cruising speed is something like 140 to 160, which is like wow for this kind of a motorcycle. It's a naked motorcycle, you have to face a lot of wind issue. So holding on to the handlebar at that speed is like a bit difficult. The ultimate aim of riding this motorcycle is not simply shift up and get into the 6th gear. That is the logic for an inline 4 or a single cylinder probably. But on this one, especially the L twins, the aim is not to simply shift up and come to the last gear. So what you need to do is identify the traffic and get into a comfortable gear where the motorcycle is comfortable, as well as you, because you shift into the 6th gear probably if you are on a speed of 70 km/h in the touring mode. The motorcycle doesn't feel so comfortable cruising at that speed. So be on 4th gear and you get this gas, okay. So this is basically in sport mode. In sport mode you have the entire bar, you have the entire torque in that low and mid RPM, so you don't have to worry about it. But on a touring mode, you have to be on that correct gear to really cruise on the highway. It's not like you just push it on to the 6th gear and aram say you always be on the 6th gear from a speed of 80 to 160. If you are on 80, stick to 4th gear. In the 5th gear, you'll be comfortable at a speed of 120 to 130. On the 6th gear, 150 to 160. And I'm so happy about it, okay, because the throttle response is very nice. What you exactly need for the highway: open road. I'm sorry for that. I don't really get open roads for a Ducati all the time. That's why I have to utilize each and every inch of it. Okay, coming back to the point. The engine is so beautiful and ferocious at the same time. So if you ask me if it's a very beginner friendly engine, absolutely I'll say not at all. If you have experience on a 600cc, probably you won't get scared while riding the monster for the first time. But if you are coming from a 150 or a 300cc, probably you will get scared because of the power. I'll say that don't start with the urban mode thinking that okay, urban is very nice mode for this one. I'll say that if you want to start riding this motorcycle, try in the touring mode itself. If you are trying it for the first time, you get a kick of it, but be careful, okay. Urban mode is for a reason, I know that, but start with the touring. That's my suggestion after riding this motorcycle for this long. And yeah, that's it with the engine. Like beautiful engine of the Ducati Monster. And I forgot to say one more thing. I really don't want to repeat this sentence every other time when I ride a Ducati. Ducatis are beautiful, sexy and hot. So the last hot is, yes, of course, means that the motorcycle is hot, but it's hot. It has that real literal mini as well. So these motorcycles like 2 cylinders, especially the bigger 2 cylinders, generates a lot of heat, and these motorcycles are not really made for our conditions, man. I'm living in Bangalore, and the climate is like very pleasant now. The ambient temperature is around 20 degrees Celsius, which is like very pleasant, but still the Ducati can heat up by itself. So just be careful with it. It may fry your pants, or it may fry your thigh if you are not wearing a pant. I mean, if you are not wearing a pant means if you are on trousers, okay? I don't think you'll be riding a motorcycle naked, so be careful with that if you are having a lot of city traffic. Again, open road. So the motorcycle suspension is set slightly onto a stiffer side. It gives a lot of control to the motorcycle. Really don't feel that it's a heavy motorcycle at all. It's easily flickable, and as per owners, what I've read in the forums and all, this motorcycle handles so well in the corners. Honestly, I didn't got a chance to corner that well anywhere on this road, because I'm riding on a straight highway now. I really didn't got a chance to try it on twisties. Yeah, I just have to go with the words that which has been said in the forums. And coming on to the braking, it comes with Brembo brakes, which makes no mistake while braking. The thing is, like, yes, you have to be very careful while braking, but the thing is, the brakes are like absolutely amazing. One of the sharpest brake that you can see in the segment. And the seat is moderately comfortable, that's what I'll say. Really, it occupies a medium size, but that's what I can see. And if you ask me if it's a long distance tourer, I don't say that, because the riding posture, basically the absence of the windscreen will give you a lot of tiredness, especially because you really won't be riding this motorcycle in 90s and all. Of course, if you are riding it on the highway, you'll be riding in 150 or 160 for sure. So holding on to the handlebar like this will be a bit difficult for you, especially for a longer time. So that's why I told touring on this is nice, but try to get it a little more taller wise. So that's my personal feel. And coming on to the tires and all, it comes with Pirelli Rosso 3 tires, so a lot of feedback from the tires as well. And coming on to the gearbox and the clutch, I'll say that comparatively from the Ducati lineup, I'll say that comparatively this gearbox feels lighter. I mean, it is one of the nicest shifting Ducatis that I've ridden. Clutch is still slightly onto a harder side. To be honest, I haven't ridden a Ducati which has an extremely lighter clutch like a Japanese motorcycle. But yes, altogether a pleasant riding experience. So this motorcycle was given to me by my friend. So he bought this motorcycle for around 14 lakhs on road Bangalore. And coming on to the service aspects and all, the service is done once in a year or once in 10,000 to 15,000 kilometers, and which will cost you something like 8k to 12k. And the 30k service is like the Dismo service. So you might be probably knowing what the Dismo service is if you have seen my earlier Ducati videos. So the valve clearance check will be there. So all those things will cost a bit, and that will boils down to around 30k to 40k when you go for that 30k service. So slightly onto a higher side when you compare with the Japanese forks or the Triumph, but still I'll say that it's worth spending on a Ducati if you are a Ducati fan, or if you want that kind of a ferocious motorcycle in your hand. Certainly I'll say that if you're someone who want to ride in a settled manner, I'll say not at all a motorcycle for you. Try riding in line 3 or in line 4 like the Triumph or the Japanese motorcycles, you might be happy with it. But these kind of L-twins, these kind of twin cylinders are really for those people who wanted to ride in that power band. Like, they don't want to settle, they want to be on that higher RPM, or that RPM which gives that kick. You see that the way it delivered the power delivery is like terrific. It gives you a nice punch, okay? It doesn't throw you out at all. What I'm saying is, like, if you really push it hard in the sport mode, yes, it tend to do a slight wheelie in the second gear. That's what I personally feel. And I really don't claim that I did a wheelie on this, but I have that feel when I pull it hard, that's all. And this motorcycle has immense ground clearance, but using it inside the city, bad roads are kind of okay. No problem with the clearance, but the thing is, the suspension is slightly onto a stiffer side, so you might find it a bit difficult to maneuver it inside city. And secondly, yes, heating is a problem, so just be careful if you are planning to buy the motorcycle. And yeah, if you ask me what kind of person fit onto this motorcycle, I'll say that someone who really love an inline 4 won't be that happy on this motorcycle, okay? Because this is far away from what you see on inline 4. If you like an inline 3, definitely give it a try. and get satisfied with the power, and get to know that there are motorcycles which are powerful, and really enjoying that inline threes. I'm talking about the Triumph, the Street Triple, basically the competitor for this one. Yes, if you have Street Triple in your mind, definitely you ride a monster. Just give it a try, man. And the inline 4 competitors are like the Z900 and all, but definitely I'll say it just gives you a competition in terms of CC or somewhat closer price ranges, that's all. But no relationship with the riding ergonomics, the kind of purpose that it has. Probably, as I told, if you want, you can tour on this motorcycle, that's what I'll say. You can have your luggage tied up and you can do that. But mainly this is for short sprint, whenever you want that power. This is what you get out of the monster. It's a truly engaging motorcycle. This motorcycle doesn't give you a feel of settlement that you just settle to some RPM and just ride it on the highway. You can do that, but there is no fun in doing that buying this kind of a motorcycle, okay? So that's it with a quick review on the Monster 821, and I hope you like this video, and as always, show some love in the form of likes and comments. See you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye. Sounds crazy when you downshift.